Hmm. All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good today. It is Tuesday. Nvidia at 182s. Nasdaq is still muted. All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good today. All right. There's always an echo. I always forget to mute the background stream that I'm checking on. Some news that came out this morning. We got a couple things going on. Home Depot posted 458 EPS earnings per share versus 470 expected, so lower than expected EPS for Home Depot. If you look at HD here, it's pretty flat on this report actually. Revenue showed up at 45.28 billion versus 45.41 billion, so it missed EPS and revenue, but it reaffirmed its guidance. So mostly flat EPS and revenue, but reaffirmed guidance is good, and so it's kind of flat right now is what I'm showing here for Home Depot. We also have some other earnings dropping this morning. We got Medtronic, Xpeng, VKTX, Premier, a couple other companies. Nothing really big though, except for Home Depot. We are seeing some news reporting going on this morning here, where contacts between Sefcovic and Greer are ongoing. Still got alarms going off in my pocket. But yeah, the big news going on today, Home Depot, Intel is up following a $2 billion investment into SoftBank. Here's Intel gapping up from 23s to 24s to 2480s right now. I get a $2 billion equity investment from SoftBank Group at $23 a share. It comes amid reports that the U.S. government may convert the CHIPS Act grants into equity and potentially giving it a 10% stake in Nvidia. Palo Alto is up as well here. We do have Palo Alto. Palo Alto is up. You can see PA and W up to 187s almost, right around 187s from 170s. This is strong Q4 fiscal results. Optimistic guidance for next year. Highlights include 16% year-over-year revenue increase to 2.5 billion, strong adjusted profit and risk, or rising remaining performance obligations projections, RPO projections. We had a X Financial, 65.6% year-over-year revenue. I don't know if this is it or not. Okay. Okay, this is it. Yeah, X Financial is up this morning. Again, 66% year-over-year revenues, record Q2 loan facilitation. A couple other companies. TeraWulf is down 1% after announcing a 400 million convertible note offering, increasing to potentially 460 million in expanded partnership with Google. But you can see WULF is down slightly on this, down slightly. Markets are still subdued. Home Depot is recently reported earnings. Here's the Home Depot earnings. Again, HD, missed EPS, missed revenue. People are still focusing on Jackson Hole. Intel, they're watching Intel this morning a little bit. Geopolitical sentiment improved slightly with diplomatic optimism around Ukraine easing some global market tensions. Oil is low, gold and bond yields are mostly higher this morning. If we take a look at rate cut odds, here's the rate cut odds for next month. 83%, really pretty much unchanged from yesterday. But we haven't really moved at all. We're still showing about 83% likely that we cut rates next month in September as of now. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We got the Fed minutes report. Today we have the durable good orders report. Bond yields are a little elevated though. So they're a little bit higher than they were yesterday, and you can kind of see they have moved up really over the past few days, slightly every day. 15th they gapped up a little bit. They got as high as 4.33. They went down, they bounced back up. They're at about 4.328% right now. So a little elevated from where they were yesterday as well. And yeah, that's the market right now. We got durable goods orders in like an hour or so. So we do have durable goods coming out. Might influence things. If we take a look at the SPY, we're down slightly on the SPY. The Q, we're down slightly on the Q. Morning. So slightly red day so far. According to a Reuters poll, the Bank of England is going to cut rates once more this year by 25 basis points to 3.74% in quarter four, and then in early 2026 to 3.5%, another 25 basis points. UK GDP growth to average 1.1% in 25 and 1.2% in 26. Again, Medtronic released earnings not that long ago. See what happens. So the president is getting interviewed on Fox and Friends at 8 a.m., I believe, at 8 a.m. So again, the president's getting interviewed at 8 o'clock. We will cover what he says. It's going to be on Fox and Friends, so unfortunately I can't stream that. But the president's getting interviewed. We'll cover what he says. Up Motley, Rusty, Jay, Trey, Yowzer, Pawn, Discipline, Science, Billy, Fate, Ricardo, Hunter, Jay, Good News, AP, Martin, Rick, Ryan, Marco. What's chat? Do a poll here this morning. What do we got? Let's just ask, do we cut rates September? Vote on that poll. Let me know what you guys think. Turn around Tuesday. Maybe we got durable goods today. I mean, we got some stuff going on. Maybe we'll move. I don't know. Is there an El Mastro? Are you just saying you? What's up, Axel? Hey. E. Yeah. Alright, bro. You were late. You were late, Axel. Sorry, dude. All right, guys. So the big question is, does the market react ahead of Jackson Hole this week? We also have the Fed minutes report tomorrow. A lot of foreign stuff going on overseas that I'm showing here. A lot of people speaking on that. We got Viking Therapeutics, VKTX, which I believe has earnings this morning as well. Let me see. Like, I believe VKTX has earnings this morning. Let me make sure. No, they don't. So it's Viking Holdings has earnings this morning, not Viking Therapeutics. The Viking Therapeutics, VKTX, announced positive top line results from phase 2 venture oral dosing trial of VK2735 tablet formation in patients with obesity. So positive top line results for VKTX as a company now. So that's good. Peabody Energy terminates deal to buy Anglo American's steelmaking coal assets, according to Bloomberg. We had the China foreign minister speaking to India's NSA. Says both sides should support healthy and stable developments of China-India relations. Two countries should trust each other and support each other. Both sides should create favorable conditions for improving and developing bilateral relationships. Both should consolidate consensus in areas such as border control and negotiations. Oh. So the EU says that it has sent back the draft trade joint statement to the US and work continues. Medtronics posted some numbers. They showed up at 126 versus 123 EPS, revenue of 8.6 billion versus 8.37 expected. They reiterated their fiscal year guidance and lift EPS. What happens there? Yeah, Nasdaq's kind of flat here, though. It's not really doing anything, fortunately. Plymouth Industrial Real Estate Investment Trust receives unsolicited 24-share buyout proposal from 6th Street. Yeah, I mean, today we got some stuff going on. We got, like, durable good orders coming out at 8:30. Building permits at 8:30. Bowman's going on TV at 10. The president set to speak on Fox and Friends at 8 a.m. So we got some stuff that could move things. We're going to be watching for it for sure. All right, so the president just posted. He said, quote, "Stupid windmills are killing New Jersey. Energy prices are up 28% this year and not enough electricity to take care of state. Stop the windmills." End quote. The president. Yeah, the president. Not really anything market moving. Not really anything that's going to influence markets, I think, here. Somebody's saying about it. We got durable goods in about an hour. Bowman speaking today. We got Canadian CPI also at 8:30 as well. We'll see what they look like for inflation. Yeah, SoftBank investing $2 billion into Intel. Is the music too loud? I can turn it down a little bit. Oh, okay. We got news at 8:30. So we got durable good orders at 8:30. The big so durable goods, like, you got to look at, you have like base durable goods. Durable goods are just long-lasting manufactured items. They're like cars, appliances, aircrafts, machinery, electronics. The Census Bureau releases this report once a month. and it provides data on new orders, shipments, filled orders, stuff like that. There's headline durable goods, which are kind of important, but the big one is core durable goods, which is seen as kind of like a substitute for business investment and equipment, and it's watched by people, you know. It can signal like the health of consumer demand and business investments. And so higher order signals business and consumers are confident, supporting potentially like GDP growth and economic growth. Lower, of course, means they're not so confident, they're not really ordering as much stuff, and could signal slowdowns. So, but you can also look at durable goods as like an inflation causing thing too. But and so let's see the Nasdaq drop. Nasdaq's dropping here. We're down to 760s. Yeah, if we get a peace deal, the market's gonna run, I think, probably. You know, we'll see, but the EU rejected the deal news. Yeah, so the news I see this morning, Nvidia is now one of the most under-owned mega-cap tech, according to Morgan Stanley. Their review of Q3 13F filings show mega-cap tech stocks remain under-owned by institutions relative to their S&P 500 weighting. Nvidia is now the most under-owned, with its ownership gap widening by 92 basis points in Q2, the largest among big tech names. Again, the president's going to be meeting and getting interviewed on Fox and Friends at 8 o'clock in the morning, so that is not that long from now. That's in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. We'll see what that looks like. Nvidia's working on new AI chips for China, according to sources. Nvidia's developing a new AI chip for China. Nvidia's actually green a little bit today. You know, it's gonna be based on its latest Blackwell architecture that will be more powerful than the H2O model it is currently allowed to sell there. We got some foreign stuff going on. The Ukrainian president said that the result of talks in Washington is, quote, good and normal. The president said that they're both going to meet at an undisclosed location, specifically the Russian president and the Ukrainian president. President said this was a very good deal. So we don't really, I don't really see too much European news. So I do show that U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent says Alaska was a show of strength by the president, believes that there will be a meeting between both sides, both presidents, including Ukraine and Russia. It seems both sides are ready for the conflict to end, according to Treasury Secretary Bessent. I hope he's right, honestly. I'm for peace. You know, of course. Like, everybody should be for the most part. I think the market will care if there's a peace deal. You got to think about it like this, right? Like, if our money's getting sent there and the peace deal happens, it's going to save the U.S. money. It's going to make optimism, you know. It's going to be good all around, I think, if it happens. I'm for it happening. You know, I don't know if it's going to. We've heard this before. And Bessent is just kind of going to mirror what the president wants, right? Like anything that, like, Bessent's, you know, he's just going to mirror what the president wants. And that's okay. I mean, that's normal. You know, that's normal. All right, so we dipped under 760 for a split second here. We're starting to bounce back up. We'll see if we hold. Bro, my sleep has just not been good, dude. Like, I don't know if I'm developing insomnia as I get older, but like, bro, I will wake up at like 3 a.m. in the morning, and then I'll try to go back to sleep, and I can't. Terrible. Then I'll sit there until like 4:30, and then I'll finally go back to sleep, and then I gotta get up in like an hour. Not fun. All right, Nasdaq's popping right back up. Very sideways action here. Very sideways action. Bessent announced its intention to raise tariffs on India due to Russian oil imports. So that just dropped as well. Get Bessent potentially wanting to raise tariffs there. Bessent claims there's strong confidence that a meeting between both will happen. Eli Lilly shares are up this morning. Yeah. I've got my levels checked there, Todd, in the last like year or two, and my levels were like 5 something. They're like 5 something, which is pretty standard for my age, I think. It really wasn't bad. They were like 5 something, almost 6. So those are probably fine. I should sleep earlier. Yeah. Yeah, we have some B12 that we use. Maybe I'll start using that. Waking up at 3 a.m. is normal. We did it. Yeah, I could see that. I've always thought about it like, if we do we sleep during rain because less predators are out there? And so going back to like when we lived in the woods, you know, it would make more sense to sleep during the rain because there's less predators in the rain. Predators are hiding too. They're not really hunting as well as much. I think it made it. I always thought about that. It made sense. Never really checked it though. Yeah, maybe I'll try melatonin. I've never really taken melatonin. Maybe I should. Yeah, so look, Nasdaq's still very sideways. I mean, we're just not really doing anything. We're very sideways and choppy here. Here's my epic pin thing. Yeah, I mean, we're just kind of. We started to break this level, 750, getting a little bit more interested in things. But we'll see what the president says. Again, the president's set to speak in 20 minutes. We got durable goods orders at 8:30. That might move things too. The things that you be thinking of. I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't necessarily think that's crazy. Think about that. Let me look this up. Somebody's had to thought of this before. All right, so Freeport LNG export plant in Texas on track to take in more natural gas on Tuesday after a liquefaction train shut on Sunday. Yeah. It looks like this thesis was wrong, though. Animals are actually more active after 2 or 3 days of constant rain. If you look at what dogs do during rain, they're certainly not sleeping most of the time. My dogs hate rain. Yeah, I've tried CBD. All right, guys, so we're going to try to trade today. We'll see what we get. We're under 760, and now it looks like we're rejecting that level. Now, Nvidia's starting to fall down a little bit over the last, like, 3 or 4 minutes. Gold is now down to 33.83s here, 33.83s. We'll see what happens there. Amazon and others have been pushing up pretty strong. Again, the president's supposed to speak at 8 o'clock in about 18 minutes, and then that durable good orders at 8:30. Yeah, Viking Therapeutics had positive top-line results that came out for it. But for some reason, it's down significantly. I don't know why. VKTX is down. Again, it had good results, positive top-line results, but, you know, with these biotech companies, they find one little thing and they just, you know. Yeah, they had phase 2 trial results that people didn't like. It showed up to 12% loss, weight loss in a phase 2 trial for their obesity drug, but they must have found something they did not like in VKTX, and now VKTX is dropping such a large percentage, man. You ever hear me say I don't like investing in biotech companies? This is freaking why I don't like investing in biotech companies. I don't like investing in biotech companies because this thing can drop from $60 down to $25 in about 30 minutes. And if I'm not awake in that 30-minute period, it's trouble. Like, this is why I don't buy biotechs. They're too volatile. They're just too risky. Too much stuff can happen. I don't know the jargon. I don't know the information regarding medical, pharmaceutical stuff. I'm not about to learn it. And even if I did, it'd still probably be too risky to start betting on these companies. Because what happens is these companies want funding, right? Like, especially if they're public, they want people to buy the company. Like, they want people to buy it. They want that money to flow in. And so they're going to try to frame it in the most optimistic way they ever could, even if they know. Right, because they want to keep their business alive. They want to keep it thriving, and so they're going to frame it in the most optimistic way sometimes, even when it's bad news. And so it's too hard to figure out what the truth is regarding a lot of these biotech companies. And so I just don't. I never like investing in them. They're just too risky. Yeah. I don't know, horror movies never really, like, I'm not saying I was never scared of horror movies. Maybe it was like when I was young, my parents used to let me rent these, like, they used to let me rent all the horror movies when I was like 10 and just watch them by myself. Maybe I was a crazy person because I'd sit there and watch those horror movies by myself. All right, so we're starting to spike up a little bit. Let's see what's happening. All right, so Bassett said Nvidia will require a license for any new China chip. I'm assuming that's negatively impacting Nvidia, but I guess not. He said we will be meeting with the 11 strong Fed chair options. Meet with Fed candidates right after Labor Day. Said there's no talk of forcing companies to buy from Intel. We have to stop single point of failure in semiconductor chip sector. U.S. investment in Intel would be a conversion of grants and possible increases to help stabilize. But he did say Nvidia is going to need a license to sell the new chip they're talking about this morning. Besson also said the digital service tax is unfair. Said Monday was optimistic and great day. Yeah, Betson's speaking like every morning now. We got durable good orders at 8:30. Oh, sorry, Sam. Let me check it out. No screens for 2 to 3 hours before bed will help. Read a book. Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to swarm my kitchen here and find a book, bro. Yeah. No, I know. I'm one that puts my phone up at night. I generally sleep pretty well. Like, Carol hates me because I fall asleep very easily. Like, we put on a movie, in 10 minutes, I'm out. My dad's the same freaking way. If my dad comes and stays here, we tell my dad, don't sleep on the couch. My dad's like, hey, you want to watch a movie, you know? And so my dad will put on some, like, submarine movie or something, and then within, like, 10 minutes, my dad's asleep. And then I gotta try to move him from the couch. I'm like, hey, Dad, get up. Go to the room, you know? And he's just like, nah, sleeping here. My dad's the same way, I guess. But stock and crypto markets, the last line of, yeah, I mean, look at the NASDAQ spike up a little bit here. I don't really see any news that's causing this. Bitcoin still at 115s, hit 114s yesterday. Gold is starting to edge up a little bit. But we got some optimism for Nvidia. They're supposed to be developing a new chip, but Besant did just say they needed approval for the new chip a couple minutes ago. So, but the NASDAQ is starting to climb back up here. Besant said tariff revenue will be revised up substantially from $300 billion this year, and that the Fed candidates are an incredible group. Much of PPI inflation was investment services, is what he said. Said the Indian arbitrage of Russian oil is unacceptable. And there's now a 63% chance that both sides, Russia and Ukraine's presidents, will meet before January. 63% chance according to some markets as of now. So that's good. But yeah, Besant speaking, I think it's driving the NASDAQ higher, maybe. I don't see any other breaking news. Yeah, that's basically him. My dad likes World War II. Submarines for sure. But I think that's just kind of an extension of World War II. My dad likes a whole bunch of stuff. I think he's got ADHD like I do, and so he's into a lot of different things. He's into like radios. He's into a bunch of stuff, man. Adverse August. Is that the nickname for August? I don't think I've ever heard that August nickname. Adverse August? I know the September slump. But I've never heard Adverse August before. I'm okay with it, I guess. Let's see what we do this month. What have we done so far in August here? Let's take a look. NASDAQ over the 200 exponential rising here. Maybe on a renewed potential peace talks. All right, so the SPY right now. The August. Did August start? August started right here. August started right here. So far in August, we're pretty freaking green. You know? Like, look. This is August right now. This is August. So, we're pretty green in August so far. It hasn't been like an incredibly red August. So we only got, what, 11 days left of this month? Something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Or how many trading days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 trading days left of August. So we'll see. Magnesium. Like, I cut my UNH trade yesterday. Was it the right move? Maybe. I don't know where I sold it at, but maybe I'll add to it if we dip back down. Is Open Door still up? Nasdaq's starting to rebound pretty fast here. I think Bessett's still speaking too. Open Door's making another push for $4. Bessett says the Fed rate cut could facilitate a pickup in home building, which will keep prices down for which will keep prices down 1 to 2 years down the road. We'll use tariff revenue to pay down U.S. debt, bring down deficit to GDP. We'll see what that means. But yeah, that's where we're at now. Dude, I don't know why social media is sending me all the San Francisco / Kansas City / Green Bay news. What was that? Is it rainy outside? Hey. What was that? Oh, that was lightning? Okay. That was loud. All right, so we're pulling back here. I'll try to buy this dip here. We'll see what happens. I'll try to buy this dip. We're at the 200 exponential now. We could go sideways, but I'll try to buy this dip. The range is still small. Let's see if we get a pop back up. We'll hold it down to like 767s as a risk level. And then we'll use a reward target maybe at like 780. Pretty small trade, but I think that's fair. Small risk, small reward, but give it a second. Yeah, Intel is up after a big investment from another company. I think they figure out. I know I talked about this earlier. Intel is up specifically on a $2 billion equity investment from SoftBank at 23 a share. It comes after the U.S. government may convert CHIPS Act grants into equity and potentially giving it a 10% stake in Intel. But yeah, a big $2 billion equity investment from SoftBank is why Intel is up. And you can see Intel at almost $25 a share from 23s. So up a decent percentage for Intel at least. Try to stay in this. We'll see what happens. Anglo-American updates on SMC sales process, focuses on safe restart of their North mine. The firm states that the event does not constitute a material adverse change and will initiate arbitration over wrongful termination. Whatever that means. Yeah, I actually take a triple mag supplement before bed every day. Yeah, it's pretty large for them. All right, so we've got to the point where I could probably cut this break even. And so again, I'm going to try to let this work a little bit. I'd like 780 if I can get it up there. But I'll probably take a little bit off it, like right here. If I can. We just took half off there. We'll let the rest ride, break even. I'll trade. See if we could ride this out. Oh, I'm gonna need extra coffee today. So looking at breaking news here for you guys. Tesla robotaxi trial shows pricing power, says William Blair. William Blair said Tesla's Austin robotaxi trial highlighted strong pricing power and smooth human-like driving ahead of its September launch. The service costs about half of Uber's fares and runs on tech, roughly 1/10 the cost of Waymo's, giving Tesla a major edge in scaling. Analysts are projecting Tesla could capture 35% of the 1.1 trillion annual rideshare miles expected by 2040, generating nearly $250 billion in revenue with 60% EBITDA. EBITDA is earnings before taxes. Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization is what that is. They value Tesla's robotaxi segment at $298.61 a share, bringing total fair value to about $357.43 a share. If Tesla is getting boosted on this report, it's down a little bit on the day. It's at 335, but still up a little bit here. Yeah, dude, I'm tired. I just didn't get enough sleep. Hey, thank you, man. Yeah, Carol and I were watching the show The Gentleman on Netflix. Maybe I should start drinking tea. All right, so we're holding the rest of this break even, but I'm just kind of letting it sit here. I don't want to chop, but we're starting to turn back down. No follow through lately, dude. I've been doing this a lot where I hold it break even and I've been just getting stopped out break even. There we go, that's good. Let's see if we hold. We're bouncing right off of my entry, that's always good. Looks like some news just came out though or something. Oh yeah, the president's supposed to be speaking. I completely forgot about that today on Fox and Friends. Let me get this up. Should be getting the president. I'm gonna cut this now. We're still slightly green on the day. We got out basically flat. Because remember, the president's supposed to be speaking right now. Y'all be careful. Hurricane Aaron is in the Gulf or somewhere. Let me see. Where's Hurricane Aaron? Yeah. Actually, I think it's going to go up the East Coast. As long as it doesn't come to me, I'm okay with it, I guess. Alright, so we're here. Again, the president's supposed to be speaking. I can't post this live. Just because it's another news channel and they get weird sometimes. But what I can do is I can dub it for you guys and tell you guys what he's saying. Yeah, the president's supposed to speak. Not really. I don't drink enough coffee, Martin, to matter. Like, I drink 1 cup in the morning and that's it. I don't drink any more coffee throughout the day. I don't drink any more caffeine throughout the day usually. So yeah, I just don't drink enough coffee to have that happen. All right. Again, the president's supposed to be speaking right now. We're waiting on it. Oh, let's see what he says. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. We got durable good orders at 8:30 going live today. Let me schedule the stream for that actually. All right, so NASDAQ is trading sideways. Okay, so the president's on the phone confirming a meeting between Russian president and Zelensky is in the works. Lauren said the president of the United States. Thank you for joining Fox and Friends this morning. Quite a crew, that is quite a crew. Mr. President, the whole world was watching. Yesterday, leaders from European Union, NATO, from all over the world. How did you get them to Washington, to the Oval Office so fast? Well, I think they really have to respect our country. Again, for our country, a year ago they wouldn't have. This is the president speaking. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. I made the call and they came. You would have one president or prime minister, never been such a group. These represent the European nations, and they want to end the war overseas. It's a horrible war. Ainsley says such a sense of unity, and we enjoyed watching it because America is on top. It was on your turf, on your terms. Yesterday you talked about arranging a meeting between both sides. Is there an update, and do you plan to attend? President speaking again. I thought I would let them meet. They have not been the best friends. I called President Putin yesterday, and we have had a good relationship. Only matters if we get things done. I want to get things done. I've solved 7 wars. I thought this would be one of the easier ones. Several wars. I thought this would be one of the easiest. India, Pakistan, big ones. NASDAQ is coming down on this report. Also, one going for 35 years. Congo and Rwanda, 35 years. And I got it done. This is most difficult, and I thought it would be an easy one. I hope President Putin will be good. If not, it will be a rough situation, and I hope President Zelensky will do what he has to do. End quote. Show some flexibility also. End quote. This is a mess. It was started by... Should have never happened. Yeah, and basically saying other things negative about the war overseas. It's a shame. NASDAQ is back up a little bit, but again, we're covering this as it happens. It's been barely a week since you announced, this Charlie speaking, that the first meeting in Alaska had been just a few days ago. In the meeting yesterday, in the course of negotiations, what surprised you most between both sides in terms of their strength or weakness? Maybe they're getting better than I thought. Otherwise, I wouldn't have set the two up. NASDAQ's going down on this. It's bouncing off of 760s now, but look at the market drop. I mean, it would have set up a trilateral. You know, the administration did not have a clue. If you made a minor incursion, that would be okay. Yeah, he's mostly talking on the overseas conflict. I think they are doing okay regarding both sides. I wouldn't say they are best friends, but they are doing okay. We'll see. We're setting up a meeting with them. Okay, so that's basically the news. Nasdaq's going down, testing this low level here. Yeah, Palo Alto ripping up here. All right, so we're rebounding right there at 750s. You've been doing deals your entire life. This is Lawrence again, but this is something different. I think surprising people when it comes to security. Guarantees. I know President of Russia said, no NATO. You said we'll take that off the table. You got him to agree to NATO-like protection. What's that entail? All right, so we're starting to break down a little bit in the NASDAQ here. NASDAQ does not like this, apparently. Let's see if there's anything else going on. Drive the market down. Yeah, so he said a lot of stuff on overseas. We'll cover it. But we got durable good orders coming out in about 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. The NASDAQ does not like this so far. I'm not going to trade during this. It's just too volatile, to be honest here. We're kind of watching some of the subtitles. They're just kind of commenting on overseas and how it all started. Yeah, Home Depot had earnings this morning, but they didn't react positively to it. They missed EPS and revenue. They're actually up. Actually, I'm sorry, they're up a little bit. They missed EPS and revenue, but they reaffirmed their guidance for Home Depot, so they're up to 400s right now. Hey, good luck. Yeah, mostly overseas. We're just commenting on foreign stuff, on overseas conflicts, is what I'm showing right now. Nothing really about U.S. economics or anything like that. It's mostly just talking about conflicts and how they started. So. Let's see if we bounce though. We're right at the 750 level. We do have durable goods in 20 minutes here, chat. 20 minutes. Oh, all right, we're here. Sorry, crashing a little bit. Yeah, yields are up today, showing a higher interest rate sentiment. So we do have higher yields this morning. So that's something going on. Not super high, but yields have been slowly increasing. The current rate cut odds should be around 80%, 80 to 85% for a September cut. Looking at our poll here, do we cut rates in September? 70% of people say yes. 30% of people say no. All right, we're rebounding up a little bit here now on the NASDAQ here. Very flat though, choppy price action. The only thing to really trade the last few days has been choppy sideways activity. We're not really getting any big range movement here. It's just very sideways and kind of stagnant. We start to break down. There's a lot of question marks regarding the current economic state. And I think with Jackson Hole Symposium coming up this Friday, we don't know whether Powell's going to maintain a hawkish or dovish sentiment. Yeah, we'll see. See what we get. It's interesting. Yeah, spiral. Maybe. Yeah, sorry, let me check make sure they're not speaking on anything. President's still speaking. Let's cover what he said. He said France, Germany, and the UK want boots on the ground overseas. It's possible the Russian president doesn't want to make a deal. Yeah, it is hurricane season. All right, guys, we got durable goods in about 15 minutes. NASDAQ's bouncing back. So Silicon Ranch and Central Electric have now partnered with Meta to bring 100 milliwatt of solar online in Orangeburg country. Is Orangeburg a country? What does this mean? Well, let me see. Yeah, mostly this meeting with the president seems mostly regarding overseas talks. We'll see. I kind of want to short this, but I also think we're a little too choppy here, right in the middle of the range. So I don't necessarily want to. Yeah, I remember last year we were in Michigan when some of the hurricanes hit, and like the hurricane took out our whole fence. We had 2 German Shepherds with no fence in the backyard for a while. Wasn't good. Maybe I should have shorted. Look at the NASDAQ breakdown here. Again, it's too risky right now, though, considering the president speaking. Huh? Nope. Love you, bro. Good day at school, buddy. Love you, man. Love you. Good day. All right, guys. We're sitting at 760s right now. We'll see if we hold. Durable good orders drop in about 15 minutes. We'll see what that looks like. I don't know if it's going to move markets. Again, durable goods, they could do some stuff. Like, durable goods are important because durable goods are basically long-lasting manufactured goods like cars, appliances, aircrafts, industrial machinery, electronics. It's released once a month by the Census Bureau. It provides new order shipment data, unfilled orders, and inventories. But what it can look at is like core durable goods is seen as a substitute for business investment. Like you can kind of, it's like a proxy for business investment in equipment, and is watched by economists in the Fed. So you want to look at core durable goods. That's probably the more important one. We'll see what it looks like. Strong orders can signal consumers are confident, supporting GDP growth, but also so some inflation risks. So we're looking at that today. We'll see what that looks like. NASDAQ still pretty flat, pretty choppy on the day. Gold's been breaking down this morning. Home Depot is actually reacting positively after reaffirming their guidance. Nvidia's up after announcing that they're creating a new chip to sell overseas that mirrors their Blackwell chip. We'll see what that looks like also. He's speaking right now on Fox and Friends. Yeah, I don't really think the president's saying anything that's market moving. I don't think he's really saying anything. Yeah, I'm listening to it now. He's just not really saying anything that is going to move markets right now. I'm still not going to take a position here, especially with durable goods orders dropping in like 14 minutes. I'm just going to wait, but still. I'm kind of watching it to see if he says anything important. It's mostly on the overseas conflict right now. He's kind of saying, kind of just saying stuff that we already know. Nothing kind of shocking. Yeah, well, they should. Whoever I was quoting called it a country, Chris, but they could also be referencing like the country area, like, you know, land. So that's probably what's going on. I'm assuming they mean. I'm assuming they mean Orangeburg County, but they spelled it country. So I'm assuming they mean county though. So he said, I made a deal to take rare earth equivalent of more than 350 billion. Nothing's really moving markets here though. 12 minutes. All right. So durable goods today are expected at or no, we don't have durable goods. I'm sorry. We got building permits and housing starts. I'm sorry. I'm stupid. It's not durable goods. It's building permits and housing starts. I'm sorry, chat. I was wrong. It's housing data, which is probably a little bit more important than durable goods, actually. My bad. I scheduled the stream wrong. Again, I'm tired. I'm just tired. We got housing start data today, not durable goods. Kind of a slip up on my end. Housing starts expected at 1.29 million. So let me switch this. We also have building permit data. Building permit data can drop anytime. Like, it can drop right now. $1.290 million. Building permits expected at 1.39 million. So this is probably a little bit more important. All right. There we go. I fixed it. Yeah, so this is actually housing start data. Yeah, Nasdaq's kind of flat. Yeah, we got housing start data. I don't know if I'm over trading. What do you mean, over trading jujitsu? Nah, I'm not going nearly enough to overtrain. I haven't been going that much. Like I trained a little bit on Sunday. And then I trained some last week. And then I went yesterday morning. But that's it. I trained Sunday and Monday. But I didn't train Saturday. I didn't train Friday. I trained a little bit on Thursday. I'm probably training like three times a week, maybe. Which not that much. Yeah, housing data. Again, in 9 minutes. Housing start data in 9 minutes is what it is. Yeah, I don't know why I thought durable goods. I don't know what I was thinking. It's housing start data and building permit data. Building permits can drop really anytime, though. A lot of the time, building permits drop earlier. I gotta make sure they're not already out. Again, they're expected at 1.39 million. Housing starts expected at 1.29 million. And so housing starts is the number of new residential construction projects that began during the month. Building permits are the number of permits approved for future constructions, which is a leading indicator since builders usually break ground later. Most are published by the Census Bureau, like durable goods would have been. Housing drives a lot of related industries, though, like construction, especially with Home Depot earnings this morning. It's relevant to look at. Strong housing demand, it can equal higher rents and home prices, which can feed into shelter inflation, which was the biggest CPI component to watch. So structures labor intensive, more housing starts, stronger construction employment supports wages, spending, but also potentially inflation. So a strong report, this can influence bond yields. Investors can price in like strong growth and possible Fed tightening if we have like a really strong report. So we'll see. Our housing starts drops in 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes here. Did I really? No, I didn't. Okay, good. Oh, I must have spelled it like that at the bottom. As long as it's not in the title. See, dude, I'm tired today, bro. I didn't get enough sleep. NASDAQ testing that 769 level again. The only thing I see this morning, though, is chop. We're just straight up choppy this morning. We're just choppy. Market's not really doing anything. Tomorrow we have the Fed minutes report. We got Jackson Hole on Friday. We got jobless claims on Thursday. So we got Bowman speaking, I believe, at 8:30 today as well. Let me see. When is Bowman supposed to speak? Bowman's supposed to speak at, I'm sorry, not at 8:30. 10 a.m. and then 2 o'clock for Bowman. NASDAQ's rising though. We got 5 minutes left. I don't know if the housing report will move NASDAQ. In order for it to move the NASDAQ, it'd have to be like a big polarized number, like a big pushover or under expected. If it's higher than expected, that might mean more inflation but more economic growth. If it's lower than expected, it might mean more economic weakness. So I don't think I'm hallucinating. I think I'm just tired. They say for every hour or less than 7 hours you get at night, your IQ drops by 10 points. So with that said, my IQ should now be about 180, coming down from maybe like 200 IQ that I would normally have. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be okay, I think. Sarcasm, guys. If you're mad, it's sarcasm. But, NASDAQ started to run. We're at 776. Yeah, we've become one with the chop. Maybe we're breaking out of the chop right now. I'm for it. We're starting to push up. We'll see. I don't really trust this. We can take a look at what the president's saying. I don't think he's saying anything necessarily significant. But we'll see. Mostly just talking about a good relationship with the president. Surprised your IQ is in 3 figures. Yeah, I mean, me too. Viking Therapeutics had negative top-line results. It was technically positive, but it wasn't positive enough for traders, and they're digesting it negatively for VKTX. NASDAQ's pumping up a little bit here, though. I don't see any news that would cause this necessarily that should be pushing the market up. I think the market's just kind of weird right now. Building permits, maybe? Did building permits drop for some reason? Sometimes they can come out early. Let me see. All right, we got 2.5 minutes. Again, housing starts expected at 1.29 million, previous of 1.32 million. Again, building permits, another one to watch, but sometimes that drops early. I'm still looking at that. All right, so building permits expected at 1.39 million, 1.393 million last time. All right, here we go, guys. We got 1.5 minutes. See what we get. Hopefully it's good. All right. I don't know if this is going to move markets. We'll see. Got about 1.5 minutes left. I hit the live button next to the play button. If you put it in 2x speed, you'll get a full alert on what we're doing. Yeah, the person is speaking right now. All right, guys, we got less than 1 minute. Most people seem to understand the sarcasm. You gotta troll chat sometimes. It's all right. Yeah, they're still talking about foreign stuff overseas. All right, guys, 40 seconds, 40 seconds. I don't really see anything breaking right now. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. About 10 seconds left. Hit the live button next to the play button. We'll see what we get here for housing starts, building permit data. Sometimes it can be late, though. See what it looks like. And here's the report. Right now. Okay, guys, so housing starts should have been 1.428 million. 1.428 million. Building permits at 1.354 million. Both of these housing starts were much stronger than expected. Again, at 1.4. Again, housing starts 1.428 million. 1.428 million. Versus 1.29 million expected. Building permits showed 1.354 million, a little bit lower. $1.354 million. Yeah, so again, housing starts out 1.428 million versus 1.2 million expected, previous of 1.32 million. Building permit showed 1.354, expected 1.39. Nasdaq's actually down a little bit on this report. If this holds, a little bit stronger housing starts. And again, housing start data. We also had inflation data for Canada. Canada core CPI should have been 0.1 versus 0.4% expected. 2.6% on the year for core. Regular was 1.7 and 0.3%, which was all as expected for Canada. But again, housing starts 5.2% change. Previous was 4.6%. Building permit change was negative 2.8%. But again, building permits weaker than expected. Housing starts stronger. Real estate investment trust going to start paying off. Is that good? It's mixed. Housing starts are stronger than expected. So again, a stronger housing start than expected. That's the number of new residential constructions. that began during the specific month. Building permits is the number of approved permits for future construction. It was a little bit leading. Both are published by the Census Bureau. Housing starts is the most interest rate sensitive sectors of the economy. It's what's happening now. Permits show what builders plan to do. And so what we see a little bit here is increased housing starts now, but lower permits for future. So they all might feed into shelter inflation, and so they can make them kind of relevant there. But yeah. I'll put this data up on the screen. Yeah, I'm looking at gold. Gold's actually breaking down a little bit here. Housing starts, building permits. Nasdaq is honestly reacting a little bit worse to this. Nasdaq's not really reacting like the best. That good? It's somewhere in the middle. It's kind of mixed. VKTX is down because of a negative reaction to some of their trial results. Well, I don't invest in biotech companies. I'm looking at this. I don't know what I want to do with this here. Let's see what it did to yields is what we kind of want to watch here. You want to see the net effect of these housing start reports. You got to look at the what it did to yields. Which it doesn't look like it did anything. Maybe dropped them a little bit, or maybe went up. Yields maybe went up a little bit, but not a super significant increase here for housing start and building permit data. Outlook is weak on housing starts. Yeah, well, building permit data was weak, which is kind of future of that stuff. Housing starts is current. Building permits are future. So housing starts is how many construction starts happened for housing in that specific period. So it's like right now. Building permits are future plans for it. Building permits lagged. Well, came in lower. You can see both the numbers at the bottom of the screen there, but John, you mind giving a high level of how the Fed meetings may impact markets this week? What Fed meetings are you referencing? What kind of Fed meetings are you talking about? Are you talking about Fed member speeches? Are you talking about actual Fed FOMC meetings? Are you talking about Jackson Hole Symposium on Friday? What are you talking about? Okay, you're talking about Jackson Hole. Okay, so we got two things this week regarding the Fed. We got the FOMC minutes report, which is a detailed breakdown on like why they chose to do what they did during the last FOMC meeting from July. And then we got the more important one, which is the Jackson Hole Symposium. The reason Jackson Hole is important is because over the last 3 to 4 weeks, we've seen some contradictory data. You know, originally Powell was hawkish a couple weeks ago during the Fed meeting and restrictive. He didn't want to cut rates. He didn't want to commit to rate cuts. He was kind of restrictive. He basically said we're lucky he doesn't raise rates a couple weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago. That's pretty hawkish. That's pretty restrictive. That's a high interest rate pushing thing. But then after that, within the next week after that, I think it was like the next Friday, that's the very same Friday right after he said that, we had a labor report come out that showed almost 260,000 revised jobs down for the 2 previous months in May and June. Showed a much weaker labor market picture than people had expected. And so that kind of contradicts some of the stuff that Powell said. We did have a weak economy, in some ways, a weak labor market specifically. But then we had CPI data was mostly muted. It was 2.9 or 3.1 for core, which was at the higher end of expectations, but regular headline inflation showed, as expected, a little bit better than expected, right? And so people were like, okay, it's time to cut rates. Inflation's down, labor market's weak, it's time to cut rates. But then PPI inflation came out, and PPI data showed a completely different picture of inflation. It showed massively higher PPI wholesale inflation than anybody expected, as well as way higher than the previous time as well. So there's the high inflation to justify the hawkishness. And we haven't really heard from Powell since the FOMC meeting, of course. We haven't really heard Powell's tune since the FOMC meeting. And where we're going to hear from Powell is at Jackson Hole Symposium this Friday. And everybody knows this. Everybody's going to, we're going to stream this completely live as it happens. And so it's something you want to pay attention to. Jackson Hole Symposium. If we're going to see what Powell thinks on Friday. And so again, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. If you want to day trade, again, don't fund your own account. Most day traders lose. Doesn't matter what course you take, who your mentor is. They're going to act like it's so easy. You just got to buy their course. Don't do it. Most day traders lose money. Instead, try Top Step. Great way to learn. Learning in a structured environment. The base one's only $50 a month. They give you a 50K demo. If you pass the test on the demo, they fund you on if they fund you 50K with a 90% split, and prior to that split kicking in, you get to keep your first 10K before it kicks in and profit after you're funded. That makes way more sense. The split is pretty similar to funding your own account, but the risk is noticeably less than funding 5, 10, 20, 30 grand into your account and probably losing it. And most day traders are going to lose regardless of where they go, including here. But it's a lot cheaper to lose here most of the time. It's the best way to learn. Traders have to pay that market tuition some way, so they can either fund their own account trying to look cool and lose it, or they can try Top Step, risk $50 a month for the base one, $100 for the middle one. It just makes more sense. And Top Step has some of the most reliable payouts in the game. Their new dashboard allows you to process payouts immediately. It's immediately taken out of your account balance. You can track your payout status. You can activate your funded account immediately, plus a lot of other cool stuff. So it's just a great way. It's a great way. I'll put the link up. It's a great way to learn. Most day traders lose, and I'm biased because I get paid by them. And so you want to confirm it all with them. I can't guarantee anything. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. Not an investment professional. I don't even claim to be a good day trader. Don't copy me. Understand CFTC 4.41. Hypothetical or simulated performance have limitations. Not an investment professional. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Thank you for letting me know. Stagflation is a period of economics in which we have high inflation. It generally follows a restrictive phase in the economy, but it can really be either. But it's a period of high inflation and weak economic data. Generally precedes a recession is what it means. Not always, but generally. And a lot of people are going to say we're in stagflation environment right now. Doesn't mean we are, Yeah, I gotta repeat everything now. It's okay. I know I was on mute. I got it. I figured it out. And we have 1 week where we don't need to hear from Jay Powell. I mean, we pretty much do already. There's a blackout period by the Fed where they're not even allowed to speak on economics for, what is it, like 2 weeks every month or every 6 weeks. We got Nvidia up here, Apple up here, Home Depot. Honestly, Home Depot is reacting more positive to earnings than expected to. Housing data affected it a little bit. The housing data came out right here. And We were about right here when the housing data showed up, and since then we've kind of faded back down to this level here. The range is small on the day. I think we might get choppiness leading into Jackson Hole this week. Fed minutes report might influence things too Wednesday. But we'll see. Medtronic exec says expect Q2 adjusted EPS of 130 to 132. China industry minister is holding a meeting to strengthen control regulation of solar industry and hold a meeting to curb low prices disorderly competition. Solar sector needs to curb low price disorderly competition. Want cuts. Yeah, I think market wants rate cuts for the most part. Might short this here if we start to really break down. On a short. I'll short this once right here and then add to it if we get into the green. Keep it small. We're slightly green on the day. We're green. We'll see if we get more green, but I'm gonna add one if we end up going in my direction. If not, we'll just cut it small. Yeah, Intel is up big after a $2 billion investment by SoftBank. Alright, we're gonna add a little bit to this now. Fade back down here. Hold it break even or close to it now. Give it a little bit more room, but of course I'd like this to break down more. We're gonna take half off here if we can. Didn't quite catch it. Look at that retracement. So many people took profit on that break. I'll give it a second. Again, we're holding this break even now, so should be fine regardless. All right, we're gonna take half off there. Got one left here. I'm looking for 760s on this, but I'll take 763 if we break down enough. Alright, we're out. Pretty good little trade. Catching that 200 exponential breakdown here is what we call it. One to 760s. But I'm a wimp, I guess. Oh man. Be yawning a lot, dude. Yeah, so there's no big data scheduled for this session. We got Bowman speaking on Bloomberg TV this at 10 o'clock this morning. Housing start data came in a little bit hotter than expected. Maybe I should have waited for 760 because we did tap it. We had some overseas talks regarding the conflict stuff. Look at this breakdown. Is something going on right now? Let's check. We posted the housing start data. All right, let's check. Look at the Nasdaq flush here. I don't see any breaking news either. Y'all see anything that might be dragging markets down? Nobody's speaking. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'd call it a big sell-off, but it's a lot of sales coming in. I mean, I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red candles in a row. Break the Ning 2. Let's see if 760 rejects here and we go back down to 750. I think it's possible. There's 760 rejecting. Let's see if we go back down to 750 now. Maybe should have taken that 760 rejection. Good. It's definitely a sell-off. I'm just trying to see if it's catalyst driven or not. I don't really see anything there. Still dropping though. Again, Nvidia is working on a new AI chip for China, and PA and W reporting pretty good earnings. Nvidia is very flat rangey though. Yeah, there's 750s. Alright, so we did tap 750s, we rejected it off of 760s, so now we're testing the lows of at least the last 4 or 5 hours. Lows of the day technically are going to be right around 730 even. Nasdaq's getting a surge down here. I don't see any catalysts to drive this though. This is a big red move. Looking elsewhere. Angela looks at UK property tax reforms. Red. On your levels, they're all spot on. They're for 750 because we dumped underneath that. But I think the more volatility we get, the less anything's going to respect any level. Yeah, I don't see a reason for this either. I don't see anybody really speaking right now. I don't see any big news that might influence this, so maybe big money knows something we don't. If you pull back to 750s, I might short that. Get a pull back to here. Yeah, like 750. I mean, that's under the assumption that we end up, we even root back up there. See? Oh man, all right. Building permits are down 7 of the last 8 months. That might be slowly creeping into sentiment today in markets as well. Housing starts were higher than expected though. Yeah, I shorted right here at the 200 exponential, way up here at like 770s. I should have held that one. All right, we're creeping up. I didn't quite get filled. All right, I put out an order to try to get filled short side there, attacking the 750 retest, but we didn't really test it here. Now if we creep back up, that's going to show some momentum. I might look for 752s instead, if that makes sense. But we'll see if we get it. I might have just missed the trade. Now we're starting to creep back up. Market's going down because of my water bill. That's possible for sure. Yeah, I want 750s. We're not quite there yet. I would short 750s. Give it to me. Much FUD? Maybe. Let's see what my water bill is this month. I haven't even checked it. My water bill is $458. That's better. Good. Good. Honestly, look at this one. Better than it was. Y'all are like mad about that? That's honestly pretty solid for me. All right, look, we're tapping the level here. We're gonna short a couple different contracts here. Maybe if you reject though immediately, scalp it. We rejected a little bit, but it's not enough to bring me into profit. Let's see if it goes down more. India's competition regulators have approved the proposed combination of 3G Capital Partners to purchase all outstanding shares of Skechers, SKX. Alright, we're going to add a little bit more to this here, but not a great add. Give it a second to reject. We're at the bottom of the range though, and I think the market could just keep trending choppy. There's a little bit of a rejection. I'm gonna cut half my size right there. I just don't like it. I'll let this one work a little bit longer. Better entry. It looks a little too strong for this candle. I'll give it a second to turn around, but Redbook just showed up at 5.9 versus 5.7% last time. We're green, or at least we were for a second. I want to give this a second to break down. The problem now that it's pushed so far over 750 is that it can bounce at 750 now. Like 750 can act as support right here. And so I hope it breaks down for me. But like, I'm going to take one off here just in case it doesn't. You know? And then we'll hold the rest flat. On 750, don't hold. We got some room now to play with this though. Let's see if we keep breaking down. Okay, that's better. I'm gonna cut it here, just get out green. I needed to get out green there. We got the breakdown. It's just a little bit later than I thought it would be. I thought we might reject at 750. Instead, it was like 756, which is all right. We're still green. Bro, I hate my pool. I genuinely hate my pool. You know? Pool people are unreliable, bro. They're just unreliable. You know? Like, with pool businesses, you almost always outsource, like teenagers. Teenagers are just not reliable people. They'll be like, yeah, I'm coming to your pool. You know? We're like, okay, and then we don't see them for like a week, and then our pool turns green. And we're messaging them, and we're like, yo, our pool's green, what the heck? And they're like, oh, and they give us an excuse every time. They're like, oh, you know, my cat had to go to the hospital. I'm just kind of like, dude, get out of here and make my pool not green, bro. You know? Plus, the dogs want to eat them, you know? The battle. I hate my pool. Water bill's high. Carol's got like a freaking graveyard of plants that she wants to water. She doesn't. You know? I love her, but problems. Got problems. Alright, so we're starting to break down a little bit. You know, Lee, you would think the plants aren't dying at my house with this water bill. They are. I would say 70% of the plants dead. You know? No longer alive for the plants. Yeah, this is definitely first world problems for sure. But that doesn't mean I can't rant about it to, you know, internet people. So I'm crying about it anyway. All right, so we're starting to break down. I should have held this short. My accuracy has been pretty good today. My discipline of holding it as long as I need to has not. The plant murderer. Yeah, she strikes again. All right, so Sprouts, speaking of plants, Sprouts Farmer Market announces a 1 billion share buyback authorization. So Sprouts SFM stock, 1 billion share buyback authorization. Generally pretty good for companies. They'll go up. All right, we're still breaking down here. We're at about 740s right now, 740. No, he spoke about an hour ago, Ricardo. Yeah, still looking pretty bearish, but we're consolidating now. Nvidia at 182. Oh, it's all good. Let's see if 750 rejects it again. Gold just bounced off of the pre-closing price. Gold almost went red on the day, but it bounced right off of there. Okay, so we got some other news coming out today. It says, quote, the coalition of the willing planning teams are to meet with U.S. counterparts in the coming days to further strengthen plans to deliver robust security guarantees to Ukraine. Leaders also discuss further pressure, including sanctions, end quote. So that news is coming out. I don't know if that's going to influence things, but maybe. UNH at 310s. I cut it yesterday. It's down from where I cut it, so maybe it was a good move. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not getting into too much foreign policy stuff. That's just not my style. I'm watching 750 above us, but we're big red action. Now we're trending sideways. We got about 25 minutes until the opening bell. We'll see what we get from it. What's your take? Who will be the next Buffett? I don't know. I'm not sure. My guess is one of his family members. I understand foreign policy affects everything. Neutrality always favors the oppressors. If you support freedom, you should support my freedom to say, hey, I don't care about any of that stuff. I care about it, but I'm not going to talk about it with you guys. No. I'm not going to base my life around politics or anything like that. I'm just not. I don't need that type of stress in my life. Once you get to the tippity top, it's all the same people anyway. They don't care. European Council President Costa says attacks between both sides need to stop. Security guarantees need to be provided, end quote. AMD's dragging down the NASDAQ? Maybe. AMD is down on the day. Nvidia's up after their chip news that came out that said they're creating another chip for China. Essentially, that mirrors the Blackwell chip is what they said. And then we also had Bassett come out this morning that said he would make them get a approval for that chip. So. Marco, get out of here with that, bro. I'm not talking about any of that either. Y'all aren't gonna trick me into that conversation. I'm good. It is the same people, love. Once you get to the like billionaire status, they're all rooting for each other's best interest anyway. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, so the U.S. Commerce Secretary Lutnick says for financial security reasons need chips made in the U.S. according to CNBC. Yeah, at Beginner Trades. At Beginner Trades. Yeah, I don't know why we're dumping this. Look at this. We're testing lows as well. Look at this. We're about to crack lows of the last like 6 hours at least. Here's lows of the day at 7:30. Here's lows of the day right here. See? Still break it down some here though. We're at 740 right now. I mean, of course, I think it has a lot to do with that place. All right, we're still flushing. 23 minutes into the opening bell. Kind of edging towards this low of the day here at 7:30. Not really gonna mess with this. SoFi. SoFi just ripped up here. Let's see. Yeah, so Lutwitz says cannot rely on Taiwan to make our chips. SoFi plans to add blockchain-backed international money transfer to the app. SoFi to offer services using Lightspark's open source protocol is the news from SoFi. All right, Nasdaq's still trying here, but gold went technically red on the day. We're at 33.75 right now, 33.75 for gold. Lutnick says U.S. could convert Intel funding into equity. We'd like an American transistor built in America. They're hopeful that Intel can make us participant in the chip space. I don't know. Yeah, so Home Depot missed EPS. What did XPEV end up showing for their earnings? Where's the news thing? XPEV post second quarter revenue. Medtronics, Viking. All right, we're still flushing down. Gold is still breaking down pretty quickly at 33.70. I also see there's some foreign stuff still going on. Anyone looking at the Dow? Sometimes. Yeah. See if we hold. Still looking weak though. The lowest of the days are right here at 7:30, so part of me wants to short, but I'll wait, I think. We're still holding. We bounced off at 736. Somebody mentioned that level too. As like a major level. We'll see if it holds. Nasdaq's been breaking down most of the morning. We started about 15 minutes here. Yeah, it's interesting for sure. We did a poll on when we get rate cuts. Let's end this poll and let's ask something else here. We ask. You bullish or bearish for the opening bell? Yeah, I see the stake in Intel news. Who knows what we're gonna get? Little not really the most conventional thing there. Alright, so we're starting to break down. Like we hit 35s. This is the low of the day right here at 7:30. Lutnick says we must handle the risk overseas. Lutnick talked about yeah, be careful. One of the biggest scams that I see now on X.com. One of the biggest scams that I see on X.com is that people will pretend like I'll post something, right? Like I'll post earnings today recap, or I'll post housing start data, and they'll comment underneath the post, and they'll say, interesting data. Blah 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 scammer talked about this earlier, you know. And then when you go to his page, they send it a bunch of bot views, a bunch of bot followers, and they pretend to be like an analyst. And my guess is that they're trying to talk you into joining their group chat so they can talk you into sending them crypto. It's probably their end game there. I'm not 100% sure. That's generally what the scammers do, is that they try to talk you into sending them crypto from a group chat of some sort, and they'll pretend that they're the best analyst in the world. They'll pretend like, listen, no legitimate analyst is ever going to ask you to send them crypto through WhatsApp or any type of group messaging software. None of them, 0% of them will ask you for that, of legit analysts, you know. And so just don't fall for this stuff. This is complete nonsense. Never send anybody crypto. They're gonna promise you crazy gains. If you send them money, they'll even like follow up with you. They'll be like, yeah, you're up 170% right now. And people who are kind of oblivious to what's going on might think they're making money. And then when you try to get paid from it, they're gonna be like, hey, you gotta pay taxes on it or something ridiculous. You gotta send us another 15,000. Some people are desperate enough for that money to where they're gonna pretend it's not a scam, and they're just gonna keep sending them money, hoping that they'll one day get money. And again, you'll never see your money. You'll never see it if you do that. So just be smart. Don't fall for this stuff. I see it every day. That's one of the more common ones. I have to kind of block the people that do it. So TD Cowen lifted Nvidia's price target at 235. They see strong AI positioning. They raised Nvidia's target to 235 from 175, keeping a buy rating. One of their analysts said Nvidia is best positioned to beat expectations, citing strong fundamentals, smooth Blackwell rollout, and a cleaner setup than peers like Broadcom. The firm maintains its above street 55 billion October quarter estimate, excluding H2O revenue, and sees upside to 26 forecast, with Nvidia still the cleanest way to play AI, according to them. Let me know if you agree with that. I don't know. You'd be surprised. It's not always boomers. I know somebody my age that got by that. And so they're sneaky. They're sneaky. It depends on how well you understand like scams in investing. Again, if it's through WhatsApp, 99% it's a scam. If it's through Telegram, 99%, 99.9, I would say probably. No legit person is going to ask you to send them crypto through WhatsApp. You should be able to look up whether they're regulated or not. If you can't find them, they're not legit. You know. All right, guys. Hey, we got 12 minutes left until the opening bell. We'll see what we get. We're kind of chopping back and forth now. Not really doing anything. Intel had over capacity problem. Did you see their last earnings? Yeah, Intel. I haven't really trusted Intel for the last few years. Yeah, Steve. I'm not against boomers. I think boomers are smart people. Most of the time. Like actual boomers. I know the cool thing is to call everybody like that they consider old a boomer. But baby boomers are just the generation that came from people getting back from World War II and then having babies because they were back from war, right? So they had a bunch of babies, and that's the baby boomer generation. Yeah, babies started booming after World War II is basically what it is. Bro, my phone needs to be quiet, dude. Like, it's freaking AccuWeather is what it is. I don't need you to tell me there's lightning. I can hear it outside. I look at my phone thinking somebody's messaging me, and it's just nope. Weather outside. Yeah, Bowman reflects Powell, for sure. She's gonna reflect power. But yeah, that's just because they're older. So we're at 740s right now. Not really doing anything. SoFi rip it up though at 248. 248. John, I don't know if you should call it smart. One time in the late 60s, we bought pet rocks. Yeah, but it's just kind of a gag gift. You know what I mean? It's the modern day equivalent of buying like fart spray. You know, it's just a funny, sarcastic gift. Capitalism. Thriving, you know. But yeah, it's just a gag gift. I'm not against it. I don't know if it's necessarily dumb. If anything, it's smart. Probably pretty good margins. Yeah, we had housing starts this morning. Housing starts heat up a little bit. They came in higher than expected. Building permits, which is more future projections, came in a little bit lower than expected, though. So kind of mixed results. A lot of foreign stuff going on this morning regarding the meetup between the presidents. Not really any big news there, in my opinion. The president spoke earlier this morning at 8 a.m. Home Depot missed EPS and revenue, but confirmed their guidance, so they're kind of still going up a little bit, I think. VKTX had somewhat good trial results, but the market didn't interpret it as good, and so it's now down a pretty huge percentage now. VKTX. Still talk about the president taking a 10% stake, his administration taking a 10% stake in Intel. And so, but Intel also got a $2 billion investment from SoftBank that was announced this. So Intel's up to $25 a share from 23s right now. So it's doing okay. I think it's AccuWeather making all these alerts. All right, so look, we're tested 750 again. We'll see if the market holds. I'm probably just gonna wait until the open now. All right, NASDAQ over 750s for a little bit. Now back down under it. We got 6 minutes left. Upcoming retail earnings. Well, we got McDonald's later the week, right? We got nothing really this evening. That's gonna be Lazy Boy. We got Target tomorrow morning, TJ Maxx tomorrow, Baidu tomorrow, Analog Devices, Lowe's tomorrow. Wednesday afternoon, we got really nothing big. Thursday morning, we got Walmart, Canadian Solar, Billy, some other stuff. Pretty small week. Earnings season's basically rolling to an end. We got Zoom on Thursday evening, but earnings season's basically rolling to an end. It happens quarterly, so every 3 months. The last one's kind of ending now this week. It ends really with Nvidia earnings next week. Nvidia earnings next week is probably the biggest thing going on in markets outside of maybe Jackson Hole. I don't know. All right, look at the NASDAQ start to run here. We got 5 minutes left. Nvidia just popped. Let's see if there's any breaking news. U.S. Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff expects to take part virtually in a meeting with European military leaders in the coming days, according to Reuters, citing sources. Amazon falling down a little bit. Nvidia pushing up some this morning ahead of the opening bell. Digital bank SoFi is going to use the Bitcoin Lightning Network. It's the news pushing it higher. Got the opening bell coming soon. John, do you like LVMH? I'm assuming you mean LVMH. Yeah, Louis Vuitton, Monet, and Hennessy is what that stands for. Bernard Arnault, one of the richest dudes in the world. I don't know, man. I'm not really a big. I don't like it long term now, and I'll tell you why. Is because I don't like it long term because trends change. Lutnick says we are weeks away from a Japan and South Korea deal. Potentially. But I don't like it because it's too fashiony. It's too trendy. I don't really like fashion companies. There's too big of a, and you got to look at like Louis Vuitton. Right? Louis Vuitton, one of the biggest names, of course. People still buy them a lot. Super expensive. You buy a purse, it's like 4 or 5K per purse. And that's cool and that's fine. And they're probably making a bunch of money right now. And they'll probably continue to make a bunch of money, but the risk is too profound there, I think, because trends change. You know? So, like, what's the cool thing? What's the big 30K purse right now? Fendi? Something like that? I'm not buying one. But Fendi, the current big purse right now. I think you have to do, like, a thought experiment there. And you have to say, what are the chances that Louis Vuitton is no longer popular in 20 years? Now, I still think it's a majority, like, I still think it's a pretty probable thing that they're still popular in 30 years, 20 years. But there's certainly a chance that interest falls for Louis Vuitton, Monet, Hennessy. And so, I don't like the risk there. Even if it's probable, I still don't like the risk. It's not something that I would necessarily long-term invest in. Even if some people make money in it, I just don't like the risk. It's subjective. I'm just not really interested in risking that much money in something that could change in terms of trend. Yeah, Birkin. What did I say? I don't know what I said. Yeah. Yeah, I said Fendi or whatever it is. It's Birkin. $30,000 for a purse. I tried to talk to my wife about this too. I was like, baby, I hope you would never want a $30,000 purse. I was like, leather is naturally going to get worse over time, right? Like I could buy a $15,000 watch, and that watch, as long as I get it polished, is going to mostly retain its value over like a 10, 15 year period, right? Mostly, especially like, you know, Rolexes kind of keep up with inflation too. It depends on what kind of watch though. But you buy a Birkin bag, you can try to argue it's going to hold its value. And I get it, but that thing is not holding its value. Leather's going to, you know, wear over time. Just makes no logical sense. Spend $30,000 on a purse. Even if I was Jeff Bezos. Maybe if I was Jeff Bezos. But I ain't buying a 30. Alright guys, here we go. Market's about to open. We got 1 minute left. Nasdaq's pushing up. We're at the 200 exponential. Nvidia ripped up in the last few minutes here. We'll see if it continues up. They talked this morning about them creating a chip specifically for China that mirrors the Blackwell chip to sell there. So they're up a little bit when a lot of markets were down this morning at the open. We got less than a minute. Let's see what happens. What do you say, go for a Palantir short? I'm not going to short it, but I think it's also could be extended just based off of super high PE ratio. Even now, even if it's dipped 50%, which I don't think it has, I think the risk is too high to do either one of them. It's not even anywhere. Palantir's still flying up. But PE ratio still got to be what, 500-600? That's way too high. They're not making enough price right now. Maybe in the future they will. I'm not going to short it though. Too momentum hit. All right, guys. Here's the opening bell. Here's the bell. Bounced off of 750. Palantir falling down. Intel pushed up though. Watch Nvidia. Nvidia's coming all the way back down, giving up all that move it made. I would short this, to be honest, but too close to the open. Intel's shooting up. Apple's up a little bit. Amazon's rebounding back up. All right, we're starting to break down. I would have short this, but too close to the bell. I can't risk it. We're only 1 minute in. Too close to that low of the day. I think we're going to test it. 740, bouncing right off of 740. Nvidia's still flushing though. Nvidia just went red on the day. There's a breakdown here. Now we're down to 732s. 730s just broke lows of the day just now. I thought we would test it. There's 720 below us. Let's see what happens here. You're now under the low of the day as we speak on the Nasdaq. Nvidia's flushing down now, technically red. A lot of red showed up at the open here. I like AMD CPU. Big weakness showed up. I might buy 700 here. Yeah, we're not close enough. I gotta wait for 700. I gotta wait at least 3. Opening bell's too volatile, and this is deep red. Wow. Imbalance is mostly positive. What a red open, guys. I'm gonna start buying this, I think, if we can. I know it's close to the bell, but we have so much red. I think we got some upside potential here. Might add a little bit to it too. We'll give it a second. Shorts. Add a little bit here. Slightly green. Let's see if we go up more. All right, we took half off just because we could. I'm gonna give it a second. I don't want to get caught holding a falling knife though. So we might add a little bit more to this. Try to scale into a longer term long. All right, we took half off there. Still looking really weak though. I think we're starting to slow down maybe. Almost green. The momentum's certainly against me in this trade, but I think the extension's in my favor here. I don't like that low drop. We're gonna cut that right there. We made a little bit, but very small. Maybe buy back in if we see some moves we like here. It just looks too momentum heavy on the downside first. I don't really have any levels down here either, so I'm gonna have to start looking for some. Apple's dumping down here. Put a red open. I'm gonna jump in here long again, based off of extension, and then maybe we'll add a little bit down here. Pop up. There we go. That's better. All right, we're out. Caught it. I thought we'd bounce it eventually. All right, so we got this isolated low here, 660s. 700s right here. We can look for that. I gotta zoom out and try to find some lower levels around these spots because it looks like I haven't drawn any. All right, here's some. We got 6 here. 580s confirmed a bunch. Got like 650 here. Nvidia fall down to 181s. Rage, I don't even see much movement. Oh, it looks like we're finding some support at the 660 level. We'll see. Again, guys, if you want to check out Top Step, I'm waiting to trade here. We're green on the day. We've been day trading on our Top Step funded account. So if you want to check them out, I'll put the link up. Great way to help support the channel. No PDT and futures. You day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold, currencies, I think. No PDT rule. Beautiful way to learn how to day trade with less risk than funding your own account thousands of dollars. Base one's $50 a month. You pass it, you get a 50K funded account, 90% split. You fail, you lose $50. It's not the end of the world. It's just the best of both worlds, in my opinion. But they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased, of course, but genuinely useful. Their new dashboard processes payouts quickly. You can track payouts. You can activate funded accounts immediately, plus a lot of other cool stuff. It's great. Give it a try. Here's the link. Remember, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. I get paid by them. So, but genuinely useful for traders. There's the link in chat right there. All right, so we are bouncing here. Let's watch 700. The only thing I'm worried about, I'm worried this gets bought up. But we can watch 700. You can also watch 720s. I'm gonna try to short this real quick. Let's try. Maybe add a little bit up to it here and leave it here if you flush. There we go. All right, we're gonna take half off. Try to hold this break even now. Not quite so break even. 720 might reject it is what we're looking at. I'd love to see it flush out. We're at least respecting it a little bit here. There we go. All right, we're gonna cut it. Very nice trade at 700. That level did reject pretty smoothly here. We're up almost $100 on the day, a little bit less. John, I've had a lot of success in the past, but had losing days with ruined counts. What's the #1 recommendation for you? Trade small, bro. Set a max loss on the day and stick to it. Lock out if you hit it. And then try to outperform that profit. Probably the better move. You gotta make sure it's reasonable. Do studying. Yeah. I mean, I know the big boys, they're trading micro, or they're trading NASDAQ mini, not trading micros, and they're making these big crazy gains. If you're trading on a funded account program, though, probably, unless you have like deep profit built up, it's probably better to trade as small as you can. $200, a good day, a good day, just depends. Once you're good enough, you can do whatever you want. But again, what do I know? 700 level still rejecting pretty firmly. Yeah, this is mostly driven by Nvidia and Apple falling down or Amazon, I mean, Nvidia and Amazon. And I caught my Amazon trade, I don't know if it was this morning or yesterday, but it looks like it was the right move too. We're moving out to test 7, but Nvidia is still falling down here. Watch 720 right here. 720 could be a level. That previous low is up here at 730s. I don't know where I saw 720, but 720. Apple's starting to creep up though. $20. Intel's still ripping up. Intel almost $26 a share. Apple bouncing back too, so this might give us some upward movement. Nvidia rebounding a little bit here. Dude, I'm not running on any sleep, bro. I'll be on Top Step TV later at 11:15, I think, as well. Try to catch a couple hours before. All right, so we tested 720, rejected off of it, and now we're pushing back up. Let's watch 730s now. Apple's flying up though. Apple's at 232. There's 730s. Expecting at that one now. All right, so we did reject 730s. See if 720 rejects this. Yeah, I mean, I was on Top Step TV last week. I was in Michigan for a while, so I couldn't go on the show. My mic wasn't good enough, and I just didn't have the setup for it. But now that I'm back home, I should be going on. United Health breaking down. Glad I sold that one this morning. We bought Crocs a couple weeks ago. That one actually did really well. Our trade price was 75. It's at 84 right now. So we bought Crocs, it looks like, at the perfect time. We've already scaled out of a lot of it, but we've had a really good trade there. Let's see if we bounce at 700. We did reject at 720. Let's see if we bounce at 7 for a small bounce. Oh, what is it? Yeah. I didn't even have to look at the post pawn. I knew what you were going to tell me. Didn't I? Looks like redness is starting to show back up in markets. Big flush going on. Let's see if this is news. I don't see any news. Didn't bounce at 7. Look at this red. Weak. I'll short a bounce if we get it, because I think we're going to test that. We need a level to be short. That level. Alright, we'll try. I don't really short low of the day here, but we'll do it this time. We'll hold it flat. Cut it. We're up about 100 on the day. I'm not a big believer in attack. Like, I'll attack the range down to the lows. I don't want to attack the break of the lows, and this is why, right? So, like, here's the lows here. Too much support stepping in right here. Where my mouse is not. There's too much support stepping in right here, right? So I don't want to attack this. It's too likely that we're just going to rip back up after testing this low, if that makes sense. Instead, I like to attack this range, because once we break down underneath this with momentum, it becomes very likely that we're going to at least test this low of the day level here, like logically, right? Like momentum, psychologically, momentum steps in, people get more optimistic about lows, blah, 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 right? So once we crack underneath this big milestone 700 level here, it becomes much more probable that we're at least going to test this level. And so where do I take profit? I take profit around here. Why? Because I'm worried we're going to bounce right here. And again, maybe we bounce and then dump down. That's possible. Certainly a movement pattern we've seen. Or maybe it's possible we come right back up and we start chopping like this for a little while before we break to the upside or break to the downside. I don't really want to play with any of that stuff. I'm just trying to attack the highest percentage thing, which I think is once we break under this 7, it becomes likely that we're going to at least test this level. Even if we do break underneath it, it's all good. I'm looking for the higher probability move there. All right, so with that said, though, we did crack underneath it. We're at 650s now. Let's see if we bounce right here. This is mostly driven by Amazon. I would say in Nvidia, Amazon and Nvidia. Intel's ripping up, Nvidia's breaking down. Apple's flat. Amazon's dumping down. Again, I sold the last of my Amazon a few days ago. Or maybe it was yesterday. Maybe it was this morning. I don't know. I sold it before this drop, which is good. Yeah. And again, guys, I'm probably going to cut it a little bit early today. I didn't get enough sleep. So listen, if you want to check out TapStep, beautiful way to help support the channel. No PDT rule in futures. Get you around the PDT rule. Great way to learn. Very similar to day trading stocks. Their new dashboard is great. Check it out. Link is pinned to the top of the chat. Beautiful way to help support the channel. No PDT rule in futures. Remember, I can't guarantee any of this stuff. Not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Don't copy me. I have no idea what I'm talking about half the time. And even the times I do have an idea about what I'm talking about, I can't think of anything else to say. I still probably don't. So just don't copy me. Not an investment professional. I'm gonna go get some sleep. I need some sleep. I'll be on TapStep TV at 11:15 today. I'll see you guys then. Hopefully I can get a couple hours in. Yeah, y'all be safe. Good luck. Let's see if this breakdown continues today. Have a great day, guys.